Albert AWOL, the voice of the jungle, broadcasting on the DVC to all points unknown. If you're within the sound of my voice, you're listening to Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Hello and welcome home. Thank you for joining us on episode 172 of Welcome Home, a Disney Parks and Vacation Club podcast. I'm Tom. I'm here with Trevor and Damon. What's up, guys?
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
I finally am hooked up to this new computer here, so I'm curious to see how many things I'm going to mess up as we do this.
What do you mean how many things you're going to mess up?
I don't know. I had to move everything all around. I don't like it because things that were left are now right and things that were right are now left. And
oh, gosh.
It's a little bit of a disaster here.
So you're finally doing this on your new computer? Yeah. You're finally doing this on your new computer?
Finally, yeah. Yeah. We're in business.
That's good. Well, we were just talking before the show a little bit really quickly about the meetup where we are pretty set for the meetup. We are going to go to Paddlefish at Disney Springs. We set the menu and everything. So we've got a menu. And by the way, I just want to mention again, this is a free meetup, free food. We're just going to be hanging out, having a good time. So anybody that wants to join us, Paddlefish on, May 14th? May 14th, Trevor? Yeah. And
Saturday the 14th, yeah.
Yep, 12:30 to 3:30, and that's when we're going to be hanging out. And then probably after that, we're probably going to make our way over to EPCOT and hang out at EPCOT too. So you can join us for that, or if you want, or if you don't want to, you don't have to do that either. So, but again, we are leaving it open for a little bit longer. We don't have to finalize our numbers for another week or so here. So if you do want to go, meetup.welcomehomepodcast.com, and you can sign up for the event.
So just one thing on the meetup, I got to say this is that, so I actually started packing yesterday for the meetup, and I realized very quickly that because I haven't gone anywhere in over 2 years, I'm missing some stuff that I had from previous trips, and I couldn't find stuff, and I have to actually go shopping and make sure I have everything that I need for the trip. Yeah. So
I can see that. I haven't even thought about it yet. So
yeah, it's scary how fast it's coming up. We're less than 3 weeks out. I can't believe that this is I'm excited now.
Me too, for sure. And I'm sure you're even more excited because it's been so long for you. So
yeah.
But
I'm
should
excited to bunk in Tom's room if I go.
Is that it's if
you can you can hang out with me or Tom. It's fine.
Yeah, well, I got to pick favorites,
rooms,
I guess.
Yeah. Those poly rooms are pretty big.
Oh, I don't like poly though.
Right,
where you staying, Tom?
I'm in Animal Kingdom. You don't love Animal Kingdom either. I know you don't.
Well, but I've been to Animal Kingdom way more. I would say that if I had my choice between poly and Animal Kingdom, I'd probably go into Animal Kingdom. Wait, do you guys both have studios or what?
Yeah, they're both studios. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Wait, who snores though? Does anybody snore?
I have been occasionally known to snore.
Ooh, all right, Trevor, I'm with you then.
All right. Well, we should probably introduce our guest, we really appreciate Andy joining us today. So we have Andy Berry from DVC Resale Market, but Andy, you worked at DVC for a long time as well, and I feel like every time I see people recommending people to call at DVC Resale Market, I feel like your name comes up a lot, along with Derek and a couple other folks. But I always see your name tagged in a lot of those posts.
Well, good morning, you all. Good morning and good to see you all. I think kind of see you all.
Well, here
it's kind of funny when you do a podcast, you never see anything.
Yeah.
But it's nice to be on the show with you three and looking forward to our little chat together. Yes, I am a former DVC direct guide. I did work at the parks at Disneyland for about 9 years and have been with DVC Resale Market now for coming on 3 years. I think actually my anniversary is May 1st. Will be the start of my third year, hard to believe. And my wife and I and the kids are DVC members. Our home resort is Bay Lake Tower. We've been members for now coming on 12 years. Hard to believe.
Oh, wow. So, and you said you worked for, so I was kind of saying that before the show started, you're kind of like the West Coast DVC guy. So, and that Trevor is definitely interested in this new DVC tower that's being built. So we'll definitely have to talk about that But you're more of the West Coast guy. Not that you can't help it with Disney World too, right? But
yeah, so I grew up on the East Coast. I lived in Allentown, Pennsylvania. And the funny part is, I remember
home of Dorney Park. Dorney Park.
Home of Dorney Park. There you go for the amusement guy in the family. I remember going to Disney World one time when I was I think I was 9 years old. And I didn't come from a very affluent family, but we stayed at the parks for 2 days, one night at a place called the Contemporary Resort. And I thought it was pretty cool how that thing called the monorail, which I'd never seen before, went through the hotel. And then there was a 5-legged unicorn there on the wall, which was kind of weird. But the only thing I remember from the trip, and this is going back a long, long time ago, when I was 9, it's a long time ago. It's like 5 decades ago. I remember coming out of Presidential Hall and looking at my dad and saying, how did they get all those guys on the stage at one time? And he said to me, he says, that's the magic of Disney. And that's about the only thing I remember from the trip, that and staying at the Contemporary. But we didn't have a chance to go very much when I was a kid, so I changed that when I became married, and I've been to Disney World over 40 different times, and obviously Disneyland many, many more times than that, and spent roughly 9 years working directly at the parks, almost on a daily basis, and got to work with over 6,500 members around the world.
Nice. That's amazing. Yeah, that's great. Well, we're happy to have you on.
And I'm delighted to be on. And just to go back to the titles, my official title is called West Coast Ambassador. And my colleague on the East Coast is Derek DeBoer. He's the East Coast Ambassador. And together we collectively make up one ambassador.
Wow, okay.
I was going to say, is there a bit of a rivalry going on there?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, there is only one park, and that's Disneyland and California Adventure. I mean, Disney World just got built because there was nothing else to do in the middle of the state of Orlando, or the state of Florida.
Oh, that's funny. Trevor, I mean, how do you feel?
We can hang out, Andy.
Yeah,
we can hang out in Disneyland.
And if I remember, Trevor, you and I will just go to Adventureland. We don't have to go anywhere else. We'll just go to Adventureland.
Yeah,
that's great.
That works.
All right, so Andy, we did get some questions that were specifically for you. So from our Facebook people, and I also added one too because I wanted to talk about the new tower. But so we have Kevin reached out and asked, with the amount of right of first refusal buybacks at the resorts, at certain resorts lately, is it still true that Disney rarely touches internationally owned contracts? Was that ever true, or just a circumstantial DVC message board myth?
So in the 3 years, it's a great question. But anyway, in the 3 years that I have been at the DVC Resale Market, I have never seen them touch an international seller's contract for buyback. And that has to do a little bit with the income tax reporting for the seller standpoint. We won't get into the technical details because I'm not an accounting person. But I think it's a little bit too much bottleneck of paperwork for DVC to get involved in buying back an international seller's membership for sale. So a lot of questions I get related to that will be can we sort your inventory by international sellers? Well, we're working on that still for 3 years now. Well, there's somewhere else on the docket, and we'll try and get to that. But you can hammer through all those little listings, and once you find the resort of choice, at the bottom of the resort listing, at the listing page, you'll see whether it's an international seller or not.
Okay. Well,
that's good to know for you, Trevor.
I was going to say, I'll keep that in mind I'm not going to sell mine anyway, but that's an interesting little bit to know. And actually, I guess if I'm ever in the market for more points too, I'll keep that in mind as well.
Awesome.
All right. I'll grab the next one. So Chris says, is the recent pattern of increased buybacks at resorts that then is followed by direct price increase just a random coincidence, or a new trend that may be a predictor of DVC future behavior?
That's another great question. I think you can tend to follow DVC. I used to do the ROFR reports for our company for about 18 months. And when I was experiencing going through that exercise, I would see where they were buying back. And then subsequent months afterwards, you'd see a price increase. So I don't know if it's a thought out plan or a strategy or a tactic, but it certainly tends to indicate that that's the case. So if you take a look at the last, 3 or 4 months, DVC had a focus on Beach Club, Boardwalk, Saratoga Springs, and Old Key West, and a little bit of Animal Kingdom. And oh, by the way, the last 3, Saratoga Springs, Animal Kingdom, and Old Key West, their direct prices just went up to $200 a point. And you could argue to say, well, why did DVC do that? Obviously, I don't know directly why, but I would tend to think that they're doing that so that they can get people focused off of buying the existing, what I call sold out inventory, and more focused in on buying the new stuff like Copper Creek or Riviera or Aulani. When you look at the price comparison, the retail price is basically the same for Grand Floridian, Copper Creek, Aulani, Riviera, as it is for the sold outs, whether it be Old Key West, Animal Kingdom, or Saratoga Springs. That may be their primary focus. So it'll be interesting to see what transpires over the next 6 to 8 weeks with buybacks at all of the different resorts. We're clearly not seeing the volume of buybacks that we had seen in the last several months, but it'll be interesting to see what happens in the next coming months. Hope that helps.
Oh, no, that's a great answer. It makes sense. I mean, it makes sense they would just buy back a bunch of those and then raise the price and sell them at a higher price, right? I mean, it totally makes sense. It doesn't really surprise me, but I do wonder if they're going to continue that strategy. I mean, it seems like it's probably working well for them. I mean, but who knows, right? We don't know what their numbers look like. So, yeah.
If you look at it now, all of the direct prices are over 100, except for Hilton Head and Vero Beach, but they're all over $200 a point.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that could be the new floor level for the company.
Well, that's going to lead into the question I have for you later here. Actually, Trevor, why don't you ask the Gina's question? Because since I have my own question here. But Gina, another West Coaster. So she's a big Disneyland person. So this is a good question. Go ahead.
Yeah. Gina's been our West Coast contact on a few things, but she asks, what are the hottest contracts right now for DVC resale? Which ones are the best bang for our buck?
Another good question. So I took a look at inventory, and the 2 hottest contracts, the 2 hottest resorts that are out there now are Beach Club and Boulder Ridge. Now you probably say, well, how did you come to that conclusion? To me, it's pretty simple to look at and say the number of active listings we have on a relative basis for those 2 resorts is far less than any other resort we have. And so by default, especially the Beach Club, it's been the hottest resort for the last 2 or 3 years. When those listings come in, they sell out very, very quickly. So if you're on a buyer's perspective, looking at Beach Club, you may not have as many days to think or consider or ponder that purchase. But if you're on the seller side, now is a great time to throw your membership out there for sale if you're looking to sell. Boulder Ridge is a little interesting story because it's a short length lease, 2042 expiration. So a lot of people say, well, why would that be, a hot property? It just is. It sells very, very quickly, very, very easily for us. And we have very little inventory of it. A couple of the other resorts that are very interesting to look at, I always like to mention this when I do have a conversation with somebody, is if you're looking for an Old Key West listing, we do have 3 extended lease listings. Those tend to go and sell fairly quickly. And then the other ones that sell very quick from a standpoint of a hot contract basis are the Aulani subsidized lease. And we have one of those subsidized leases right now.
Can you explain the whole subsidized lease thing? I think that might be interesting for people to know about.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's an easy one. So back about, let me think. I think this is back in 2011. It's either 2011 or 2012. DVC had a situation where they did an analysis of the costs of operation for Aulani. And they realized that the allocation of the common area costs was too highly allocated to the hotel side and not high enough of an allocation on the villa side. So they went in and rebalanced the dues fees to have the DVC members pay a little bit more than what they were initially charged. But what Disney did, which was sort of the right thing at the time, was said, listen, if you bought an Alani contract prior to this change, prior to this reevaluation of the dues, we're going to grandfather you in or subsidize the annual dues fees for you for the life of the membership that you have. And that carries on with a seller as they go to dilute their membership interest. If they sell off, that subsidized dues portion stays with the membership. And your probably question is, well, how much is that subsidy worth? It's worth a little bit more than $2 a point times the number of points that you have on the listing.
All right. So it's not nothing. It's definitely, valuable.
Oh, yeah. It's worth something over the length of the lease. Definitely.
That's great.
So we also have three guaranteed weeks out there that a little bit different. We generally don't have very many of those, but we've got 3 guaranteed weeks at Alani. So those are, if I looked at it and said, those are the hot and the unusual listings that we have. The second part of the question I think you asked was, what's the best bang that's out there? Yeah. And when I look at best bang, I always think about it from a perspective of how much does it cost me to acquire the points? So that would be the cost per point. But then you also have to add into that the costs of the dues to maintain the points. To me, that's sort of like a fully accounted look at the cost of ownership. And from that standpoint, the best bang for the buck is going to be in this order: Copper Creek, Polynesian, Saratoga, Grand Floridian, and Bay Lake Tower. And most of those generally are in the top bang for the buck every time we do our analysis.
Kind of surprised to see Copper Creek up there as the number one. That's interesting to me. Is it just because there's so many years left on it? Is that
it's so many years left, and the dues did not go up very high. So their dues are running $7.60 a point. So the dues are relatively low in comparison purposes, but it's got an extended or a long lease, which makes the cost of ownership much lower because you're dividing the cost of the points by a larger denominator.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes total sense. Yeah, absolutely. Because it's interesting you were talking about Boulder Ridge before too, because Boulder Ridge is like, I like Boulder Ridge and all, but it's interesting that you said that was one of the hottest contracts, right? It was Boulder Ridge.
Hottest only from a standpoint of we don't have very many listings.
Okay,
when we get them, when we get them, they sell fast.
Gotcha. Okay. That's interesting because I like Boulder Ridge, but I wouldn't think of that as being one of the most popular options.
Just like going back about 2 years ago, Trevor, we had very, very little Grand Californian inventory. It's literally when you got a Grand California listing, it would sell within 12 to 24 to 36 hours. Now we're sitting with a number of listings. We've got about 25 of them in total, but it's not quite as hot as it used to be. Beach Club will always, 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 always _ be the hot property because everybody wants to own there to be able to use the sand bottom pool.
I'll admit
good
that is like, if I ever came into a bunch of money, I would definitely be looking at Beach Club pretty quick. So that makes sense.
Beach Club is one of the few that's left on my list of ones that I've not stayed at. Actually, the only 2 DVC resorts left that I haven't stayed at are Beach Club and Riviera. That's it. So, I mean, as far as Disney World goes, okay, so let's qualify that. I haven't stayed at Riviera. I haven't stayed at, anywhere in Disneyland. I haven't stayed, elsewhere. But I have stayed at Hilton Head. But so those 2 are ones that I have not stayed at yet and would like to, obviously, because I want to hit all of them at some point. So, but yeah, it's that's really interesting. So, anything else on that topic? Anything else we want to ask, Trevor?
We're sitting with a lot of inventory out there, which is making it very good from a buyer standpoint, as you could pick through a lot of different listings and have a lot of choice. Obviously, a lot of people focus in on Saratoga Springs. Well, as many people know, it's the largest resort that DVC built, and hence we have the largest number of listings there. But you have good variety there and very good leverage when it comes to, from a buyer's perspective, being able to negotiate a great deal from a seller.
So that's good. So you would say right now is a buyer's market as opposed to a seller's?
I think we're starting to see a flip to a buyer's market, in part because the quantity of listings we have, per near 700 in total, is a level we're higher than we would traditionally be at this time of the year. Normally going into the summer months, we would be in the 500 to 700 range. But since we're at 700 already, it's starting to change or feel like it's changing a little bit towards a buyer's market.
Okay. Well, I wanted to ask you about Disneyland, and even though this is more of a Trevor question, really, but I just added it on there. So I wanted to get your opinion on the DVC tower that's being built at Disneyland, and if you think it will sell quickly, and kind of what you're thinking the price point's going to be for that.
That's a great question. I'm a little bit biased, and let me kind of give you a little bit of background. The Grand California is one of 3 resorts in the world that backs up to a Disney theme park. So obviously, the Grand California backs up to DCA, or Disney's California Adventure. The Disneyland Hotel in Paris shares a main gate with the Disneyland park. And in Tokyo, the Miracosta Hotel backs up to Tokyo Disney Sea. I don't believe you can have a better location than the Grand California. With that being said, the Disneyland Tower location is great. It's over there by the Disneyland Hotel, but it's not going to be as good as the Grand California. So that's kind of one thing weighing against it. A second observation I would offer to the group is that with the villa lineup that they're going to have there, including a 2-person studio, I believe their point structure is going to parallel what the Riviera is. And if many of you all remember, when the Riviera came back, there was a little bit of criticism about, it looks like they took the studio, 4-person studio point charts down to a 2-person studio and just bumped everybody up with more points. I think with the landlocked situation in California and literally no land to build anywhere else on the theme park, you're going to see a fairly aggressive points chart to stay there. Now, Trevor and I know this very, very well, that you don't need a week to come into Disneyland and California Adventure. 3 or 4 days may be enough, even if you do it a couple times a year, because you don't have the vast array and spans of all the different theme parks to go visit. That being said, I think it's going to be a large number of points to stay at any of the size villas across the new Disneyland Tower. Now, on a cost per point basis, that's where it becomes a little bit speculative, a little bit questioning. I think, again, just for my own gut feeling, is that you might see a member price starting out at somewhere between $250 and $275 a point.
Oh, wow.
Maybe it won't be that low. Maybe it'll just be $300 a point, and they'll just go raise it up from there. But I think if you're looking to spend a week in a studio or a 1-bedroom villa, you're going to need somewhere between 300 and 400 points to stay there. And so that cost is going to become fairly expensive. I mean, if you're going to charge $300 a point and you need 300 points to stay there, you're looking at $90,000 for a purchase. Seems rather excessive.
It does.
Yeah.
And I don't care whether you're looking at
sad, Trevor. Trevor, are you sad now?
I was going to say, it doesn't matter whether you're looking at U.S. dollars or you're looking at Canadian dollars.
Canadian makes it even worse, honestly.
I know.
I guess I was hoping it would be closer to, what current prices are. But yeah, I see where you're coming from with that. It totally makes sense that they would, try to keep it at a premium.
So Trevor, at $300 a point, interested or not interested?
Potentially, I think the points per night is what's going to decide it, because if it's something where I can get, like Andy said, if I can.
How many days do you need there?
Oh, like 3-4 days at most. So
Disneyland is not a place to come visit for a week.
Yeah. So again, depending on if it lines up with what I want to do, it may still happen. But yeah, it has to be a combination of the price per point and how bad the point charts actually are when they get released.
Now, one comment I think could be rather interesting is when the new tower does open up, I believe it's going to take some of the stress off of availability at the Grand California. maybe it'll become a little easier to get a reservation there than it will be at the new Disneyland Tower.
See, I'd be okay with that because I have stayed. I'm not DVC, but I have stayed at the Grand Californian, so I can appreciate that.
Mm-hmm. And like I said, I go back. I'd rather stay at the Grand Californian all day long to know that I can roll out of bed, go through the back entrance, and be in the park in about 45 seconds.
We actually had a room right above the entrance to California Adventure once. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah. Well, the new tower looks nice, and they're making progress on it, so that'll be great. I'm glad. Do you think so? Do you think it's going to be popular even at that price point, Andy? Like, do you think if it's that high, you think it's still going to sell quickly? Or because I mean, it seems like if you base things based off like the internet, that a lot of people are excited for this, right? And that there could be high demand for this.
There's going to be very high demand. There's pent up need for another resort, another DVC resort in California. It'll sell quickly. Which is interesting because back in 2008, 9, and 10, when the Grand Californian came out, many will remember is it did not sell very well. It was a very slow seller. But I think with this new Disneyland Tower, it's going to sell very fast.
Yeah, because people know what it means now, right? Like there's more people that understand.
Correct.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, it's going to be a great location. It's you'll be able to look half of the villas will be able to look at Main Street or down through downtown Disney and probably get a view or glimpse of the Disneyland Park, maybe even a little bit of California Adventure, depending on how high it is. But I just think the location's just not as good as the Grand Californian. And with the Vacation Club, it's all about location, location, location. I mean, that's real estate in general.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was going to agree with that, and I guess part of me hopes that if what you're saying is true, maybe it won't be as expensive as I think it's going to be because people won't want it as much. But yeah, that's a pipe dream, I know.
I mean, again, a smart thing for them to do could be, listen, open it up at $250 a point and sell it for 3 weeks to members and see how the demand goes, and then from there they can always take it up.
Test the water slowly, right? Yeah.
They've got to be sitting there saying, hey, we only have a certain number of points we can sell. We're not going to be able to build another resort here, pretty much any location. So why not be a pilfer and take as much money as we can at this time? After all, Minnie Mouse needs a lot of new shoes. And about the only way she can fund those new shoes is through raising prices at DVC.
That Toontown reno is not cheap,
Yeah, it's got to pay for that somehow.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's all we had for questions specifically for you, Andy. But obviously, we're keeping you around for the whole show to go through stuff with us. So,
okay. I'm happy to be here. I'm honored to be here with you guys.
Oh man, that's very kind. That's very kind. So, this next question is from Dan H, and it's for Damon. So I'll have Damon read it.
I have to address the review though first, Tom. That you pointed out on Discord. So Tom loves bad reviews. It's his favorite thing.
I hate bad reviews. I hate them.
I think the problem is that we're going to be perpetually stuck at 4.5 on iTunes because we get a bunch of good ratings and then someone comes through us, This one, though, again, makes me feel a little bit like Tom Brady reading those bad NFL tweets because, again, I don't know how a listener that's been listening to the show at all would even bring these things up. So it's a 2-star. So Tom, you got 2 stars this time instead of 1 star.
It's better than 1. Yeah,
it's better than 1. But I always find it funny that if you go and look at the people that give the bad reviews and you open up, because in iTunes you can see what other reviews they gave. I don't know if people realize that they're all bad reviews. They never give a good review of something. They always just go bring bad reviews. So, it talks about me leaving the episodes early, which I think I've addressed 8 bazillion times.
We've talked about this. Yeah.
Okay. So, being that it's a huge hassle and imposition, I have 3 kids that are older that have sports and, listen, Tom and Trevor do a great job at showing up every week. Absolutely. Hats off to them. And, I try my best to make it when I can, but that's life. So I don't know why people would like that. But this is the best. Comes across as someone who likes the idea of being on a podcast more than actually investing in being good at being on a podcast. How long have we been doing this for?
Only 5 years.
Only 5 years. Okay.
Only 5 years. Yeah.
Is this the only podcast I do? No, like that's ridiculous. How the other host put up with his haughty attitude. I love that. This person really thought about that.
It did. They did.
Again, like, thumbs up to no P2. We're going to give you 5 minutes of fame here. Like, good job, man. But, listen to the show a little bit and, you realize that I've probably explained these things 100 million times. But
yeah, sure.
Now on to the question.
That was the first time we had a really bad review in a while, by the way. Like in over a year, I think.
No, I thought I saw another 2-star or one.
Really? Was it? I feel like I haven't seen one in a while, but
no. In July, we got took a break for a while. Don't want to hear about Universal or Dollywood. I love Dollywood. I am not going to be dismissive of Dollywood. It is my favorite park. Sorry, everybody. That's life. All right. So back to the question though. So Dan. Inquiring minds want to know, what would it take for me to be comfortable entering a Disney park at this point? When I saw Dan post that, I thought about it for a while. I think the problem that I'm having is that if I went with myself, my wife, and my daughter only, I think I'd feel pretty comfortable. My teenage boys are just... They're teenage boys, right? And it makes it worse that they're just like my middle one is always getting sick regardless, right? Like we could go to Disney, 10 years ago and this dude comes home with something. Like he's always just been that kid that like gets a cold because, never washes his hands, never does this, like rubs his eyes. Like, I'm just going to, I'm going to run my hand, along the Soarin' railing all the way to the ride and then get an itch in my eye and itch it. Like, yeah, I'll be good. Right. Like, so I don't, like I said, I don't necessarily know. And I'm going to be honest with you. There is nothing really at Disney that I'm really pining for until Tron. Okay. Like, look, once Tron comes, I'm about it. But until then, there's nothing that's pushed the meter. Like, look, Ratatouille may be great, but I don't need to ride that. So I think that's the problem. I think we'll end up being at Universal this summer. We're already planning it. So I know we're going to be at Universal. So I don't necessarily think it's a park, but here's the thing. When we go to Universal, it might be just the three of us. My boys might not go. I'm just not, there's just nothing at Disney that's pulling at me right now. Like I said, Tron is pulling at me. When Tron comes, I really would like to go, but I'm not in such a rush to go to any of the other things that have been recently, released. So I think that's probably part of it. Listen, I got burnt out a little bit. It is what it is. The kids got burnt out a little bit. I don't know what to tell everyone. I don't dislike Disney. I like Disney, but I needed a break. And that's why we did all the other things. Like we're going to Hilton Head this weekend. Going to, DVC Hilton Head. We'll be there again this weekend. We're leaving Friday. And I'm going to miss the podcast next week.
I didn't know you were going to Hilton Head.
Yeah, we're going to DVC Hilton Head next weekend.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I kind of forgot about it too, because I kind of forgot. Like it's one of those trips where we booked it for my wife's birthday. And then we're like, oh man, like we have a lot of stuff to do. So what we're actually going to end up doing is that my wife's actually going to go down on Friday without the rest of us. Like, again, these people that complain about like how much time we have, like, so Friday into Saturday is 2 tennis matches, a soccer game, and swim practice. So we were like, oh, I don't think that. So, 'cause my daughter has championship for tennis, so we're going to leave on Saturday. So my wife's going to go down Friday. She'll take the night to herself, which I think she probably will enjoy more than she realizes, being out of the stressful time for us. And she'll do that Friday, and then we'll just show up Saturday, probably midday. We're only staying until Sunday because we couldn't get Monday. The kids actually have off of school Monday, but we couldn't get Sunday night, but the kids have off of school Monday. So what we'll do, we'll just stay till after dinner on Sunday. So it won't be a long trip, but it's not that far for us. But yeah, we'll be there, and then I can compare it again to Vero, which the bocce is what sells it at Hilton Head. I'm telling you,
bocce for you, yeah,
the bocce sells it. The kids play until like 4 a.m. By the way.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they're a little nuts about that. So the other thing we did is we kind of opened it up and said everyone can bring whoever they want. So we'll see what that means.
Wait, so how big of a room are you staying in then? Are you in like a...
I only stay in 2 bedrooms anymore. That's
so
my minimum.
Sleep a lot of people then. You could sleep a lot.
Yeah, because I need that extra room to myself. Like I need that room to myself and the bathroom.
Yeah,
that's helpful. So even the double bathroom, single bedrooms, I don't know, man. I'm about these 2 bedrooms now. So that's why we ended up buying more points. So we could have
so you could do 2 bedrooms.
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, we'll be in Hilton Head. I don't know. Wait, I feel like I should have told Charles that because I feel like he lives close to Hilton Head. I might have to mention that to him.
Well,
but yeah, we won't be there long.
The podcast comes out, so
yeah.
I'll know.
Give us listens. So
yeah.
Oh, and the other thing I want to touch on is that we've been running the numbers recently, just of the podcast. It's been kind of something for all us data science people, and it will be interesting. We'll have more discussion about it in the group, but there's definitely some interesting thoughts there. And again, year over year, the podcast is what did I say? We were 43% growth, which is really nice.
Yeah, it's good. I think it's more people commuting again. I think that's helpful. So
yeah, definitely helpful.
I'm certainly listening to more podcasts now that I have to go back to the office occasionally. So yeah.
Yeah, I kind of, again, I got busy doing other things. So I haven't really been podcasting, like listening to podcasts that much. I've, definitely dropped the ball on Critical Role, which has been disappointing because I want to get back to that. But yeah, and then what's the other one that I like? Disney Dads. Is that the whole name of it?
Disney Dads. Yeah.
Yeah. I like them as well. So
yeah. Okay. Well, that's your answer, Dan.
Yeah.
I think the second Dan question is also Dan H. I don't think I put the H part in, but I think that's also him too. So he said, I've been in 5 airports the last 2 weekends, from the busiest in America in Atlanta to a tiny 6 gate in Evansville, Indiana. Also a bunch of other ones. If given a choice, do you prefer the mega airports with all the amenities or the smaller ones with easier access? It's a tough question. I like this question though. I know it's not really Disney oriented, but people have to travel, right? So
yeah, well, I'm heavily thinking about this stuff right now because I'm going to be getting on a plane here in a couple of weeks for the first time in years. And I mean, I live living in Calgary, I live near, it's an international airport. So it is definitely a larger airport. I have been to a couple of smaller ones. I think personally, I like the bigger ones just because things seem a little more, they seem like they should be a little more organized. I know that's not always the case. I've been to LAX. I know what chaos looks like too, but I feel like things just, generally move along quicker in an airport. And I don't like to spend a lot of time in an airport either. Like, it's a necessary evil for traveling, obviously, but, yeah, I think I like, I like the bigger ones, but that's just because that's what I've always been used to.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have a preference necessarily. I mean, the bigger ones, you get more amenities, right? And you get, hopefully maybe not get through security faster. It just depends on how small the airport actually is, right? So, because I've been to West Palm Beach airport for work one time, and it was like, there was literally no one at security and I breezed right through, but whereas when I leave from Charlotte, there's like 4 different security lines and that can take a little bit of time. And, even when I just flew recently and I went through Newark, which is, obviously a large airport too, security there's terrible. And it's, so I don't know. Part of it, I think, is, I think the smaller airports are a little bit better. I almost feel like I do prefer those, but and then you're probably less likely to get delayed because of too many planes taking off or landing or whatever. So or maybe you're more likely. I don't know, because maybe they have less capacity. It's a good question. It's I don't think I really have a big preference one way or the other though. I was gonna say I thought that Damon might have strong opinions about this, but then I remember Damon doesn't like to fly. I don't think, right? I don't think Damon's a big flyer.
Damon has medical issues. He doesn't fly.
Yeah,
so
that's I thought.
I have no real horse in the race here.
What are you gonna do when you go to Disneyland though? Are you gonna like?
No, we're driving cross country. Yeah. We're gonna stop it because I think there's so many things in the U.S. that I haven't seen, especially the national parks. and things along those lines. Plus, I want to see the Cowboy Stadium, right? My son looking at 2 schools in Texas. Like, I think we'll take that trip. Now, originally we had wanted to do it this year before my oldest went to school. It's just not going to happen. So I think we'll plan next year, because I think after his sophomore year, I think you kind of have to like do something, like get a job. I feel like or some sort of internship.
Do something. Yeah.
I don't know. It's funny because he doesn't have a job, and that's okay, because we kind of have our kids in this situation where if you get good grades, that's better in general, right? Listen, and parents that have their kids going to school are going to realize that like academic money is no joke. So if you're going to tell me that, my kid's going to get 30 grand to go to a school if he gets good grades versus having him work at a fast food place and not get as good grades, what makes more financial sense overall? Well, for him to get better grades. And I feel like if you're getting good grades, you're still working, right? That's my hot take on parenting that I know. Listen, I understand a lot of people do not agree with that, but I'm okay with that, right? My kid's my show, but I think that we're going to let him do the same thing probably freshman year, as long as he gets good grades his first year of school. And if he doesn't get good grades his first year of school, he's going to go and do summer classes anyway, right? So that will be what he does. But that all being said, is that I think that we're going to let him still have that one more summer of not a job or internship. So we will try that long trip, because that trip's going to take 2 weeks. And I think what's going to happen is that I'll end up doing the drive back, maybe forcing like my daughter to stay with me or something, but I may do the drive back by myself, because I don't think my wife will be able to take that long off. And I don't think the kids will want, at least the boys. So I think we'll drive out together, hit some of the national parks, maybe hit Las Vegas. Haven't decided that part yet. And then do Disneyland. Maybe they'll fly back and we'll drive back. That's kind of the thought.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that will be,
like a cool
gosh,
trip.
That's going to be like 5 podcasts worth of a trip.
I mean, you should just I feel like you should just take you should podcast as you're going, just record your thoughts as you're going along, and we just make it into one big long episode.
We could do a montage when you get back, and
I could definitely do that. I almost feel like we might have to plan something where we all get together and podcast for like a half an hour, like every couple of days, just to, because I think it would be boring if it's just me talking about what I'm doing. But I think it would be fun to do something short, or I'll force the kids to do it with me.
Oh, that'll be fun. I'm just thinking of you going day 1. I've already tired of the kids.
No, it's not even that. I feel, it's funny, as I get older, I find the biggest problem with the driving is more now just the length of time I could drive, right? Like I remember driving from New Jersey to Disney, gosh, 18 hours. I'd do it straight.
Yeah, we did.
Maybe no bathroom breaks. Good. Now it's like, oh, my hip kind of hurts. Like, man, I'm thirsty. Like, gosh, I'm kind of hungry. Like, it's more of that than it used to be. So those longer trips are going to be tough. But I think we're trying, like I said, we're trying to kind of plan it. There's a lot of Facebook groups for that, which is great. But we'll make it a 2-week trip. And maybe what we'll do, the one thing about this whole working from home is like, we might do something along the lines of, hey, we go out to, let's say, Tennessee. Okay. And then we stay there for a day, and me and my wife work a regular day, but the kids don't work. And then we're already out there. You know what I mean? It might be a trip like that where it's not 2 weeks solid straight. Yeah. We might just work a little bit as we go, which would be kind of cool. So it might turn into like a 3-week excursion, but working a little bit in there,
like a working vacation. Yeah. Like,
yeah.
My sister does a lot of that now, like, because she can work from anywhere. So she'll go on vacation somewhere, and will, work while she's there, but not the whole time. And, just so she doesn't have to take as much time off. So, and they actually might come to Disney with us in October for our trip. And she was like, I might not go to the parks. I might just work from the hotel all day. And I'm like, all right, well, that's what you want to do. Like, I don't want to do that. I want to go on vacation and take time off. But, I know not everybody does that. So, all right.
Yeah.
Should we talk about Top of the World? Do you want to talk about that?
I'm excited about this. Like, I like Top of the World.
Yeah. So Top of the World coming back, I'm excited about this too. I know a lot of people had kind of given up on this reopening, but I always felt like it was going to reopen,
What were they going to do with the space otherwise?
Special events, I guess, but why? Like, why would you do that? This is such a good location,
Yeah, like I feel like because it was built with the tower, right? So it was kind of an intention that, it is a selling point of DVC at Bay Lake Tower, right?
Yeah,
I know anybody can use it,
Yeah.
but yeah. And so, yeah, I guess the thing is that they're saying that they're reimagining, or they're doing some rework to it, right?
yeah, but I mean that could just mean that that they redid the menu, right? Like, but I mean I don't know. Maybe they redid the design in there. I have no idea.
Yeah, just as long as it doesn't turn into. Do you think they would ever make it a paid thing to get in there? Like I can't.
Ooh.
Yeah, someone said that on
Yeah.
the Facebook page. I just don't see that. What did you say, Damon? Go ahead.
I mean, maybe. What if it was less people but paid? Would that be better?
I mean, that's kind of like the fireworks parties that they've done before,
Mm.
Yeah. So yeah, that was kind of the thinking, right? So, that they've had special events where it's a paid thing, but yeah, like I guess would that be like, I'm sure Damon, you were kind of alluding to it, that if it was a paid thing, that makes it a little bit more attractive.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it does.
See, I don't know though. I mean, I just don't see them charging for it, right? Because it's already like,
Yeah, because they don't charge for anything.
well,
I mean,
no, that's not what I mean though, because it's already one of those things where it was, always kind of reported that it was not exactly like a profit center for the
Mhm.
parks, or for DVC or whatever, right? But and it, people would only come in during the fireworks, so I just wonder, like, if you charge an entrance fee, does that make that equation even worse? You know what I mean? Like, because you have even less people showing up? Because I always like the ability to just pop in there, but if it was $10 per person to come in, I'm probably out on that. Like, I'm probably not going up to do that unless it's a special occasion or something.
What if they kept that as just a unique perk for people staying at Bay Lake or owners of Bay Lake?
That would be interesting if they just
What
said
if
you
they-
can only go up there as a Bay Lake
wait.
member.
What about this?
as a
What if
Bay
they
Lake-
kept it for
Yeah.
non-resale people? So it was not, if you were a resale, you couldn't go. It was only
Blue cards only.
direct. Yeah,
Blue card
cards
only? Yeah, that's like one of the few things that the white card folks get, right? Is top of the world access. Yeah.
I can't argue against that. I can't argue against that one, I guess.
I was going to say you can, right? Being at the resale market, you got to argue.
Yeah,
You got to argue for the resale benefits to stay, right?
Keep the EPCOT members only lounge for blue card members only, but keep either Bay Lake for either all members or just those staying at Bay Lake. Make
Yeah.
that unique
Ooh,
stay only
that
sort of benefit.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I think that if they did something like that and had one everywhere, that would be really nice. Like, I know we talk about the parks the lounges in the parks, but man, if there was a like DVC only area in each one of the DVC places, that would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Seems like it'd be way easier to pull off too.
You think? Yeah, I agree. It's interesting though. So, like, Alexis asks us the question: Top of the World is coming back. Let's imagine they use the downtime to reinvent the experience menu. What would you like to change? The only rule is you can't take away the chocolate cake.
I mean, that's the only reason to go there, I feel like, anyway.
Well, you don't want to do the fireworks viewing though. I mean, like, the views up there are amazing.
I don't care about fireworks.
I know you don't care about.
I really don't. Like, what are fireworks?
You're funny with the fireworks thing.
Yeah, like I don't understand what the allure of fireworks is. But again, as we talked about this, but here's the thing: fireworks have been the same for so long.
Yeah.
What have I seen that's different? If you make fireworks that move and make shapes, call me. Until then, I don't care.
They do like the little Moana spiral
No.
shape now.
Stop.
With the
Stop. No.
Well, also, Damon, I know you why you like this experience, because I feel like there's very few more exclusive experiences than this, right? Where you like check in at the little stand, and then you have to go up a special elevator, and they escort you, and it's like a whole. You feel very special when you go up there. I feel like.
I don't know if that's it. I think the cake is just that good.
That cake is good.
Like,
yeah,
I'm about the cake because again, like I rarely drink, so it's like I'm really just about that cake, man. I'll tell you.
Oh man,
you got me curious now. I mean,
you've never had the cake? It's pretty good.
No,
man.
I've never. I haven't been up to Top of the World.
Okay.
Well,
yeah, the cake's pretty darn good.
Trevor, if it somehow opens in the next 3 weeks here, which if it was going to, they probably would have said the date already, right? But
yeah,
if somehow it opens before our meetup, we should try to make our way up there at some point.
Yeah, for sure. I would definitely be interested to explore it if the opportunity arises. Yeah, it's just for me, it's just never being over at the Poly. I just go back to the Poly to watch the fireworks from there, which, kind of to Damon's point is, you don't need to be at top of the world to watch the fireworks. So
yeah, he's right.
Yeah.
I actually don't like watching the fireworks from there because I like watching the entire show that plays out on the castle, and you really don't get the view of that. Like, there's so many other things that go along with the show that happen, right there when you're in front of the castle, and you miss all that when you're just at top of the world. So, and plus, last time I went there, we watched fireworks, and there was some lady that was obnoxiously talking on her cell phone really loudly during the whole thing. It was really annoying. What? But listen, so just to go back to this really quickly, I do want to say that I don't think they're going to charge for it. I don't think that that's what's going to be. I think they're just going to redesign the menu a little bit and then maybe change up the menu. I don't know. That's just what I feel. I feel like reimagine has a positive connotation, and I just know that DVC members would lose their minds if they started charging for this. I can only imagine.
Reimagine could also mean make it look like a 90s McDonald's. So,
well, that's true too, but let's hope they don't do that. That would be weird. What were you going to say?
Yeah, it would be funny if they did like a strange 90s throwback, and yeah, I don't know.
I mean, listen, it's very
Disney's done weird
there,
things
though.
before, but
they have. But it is very fancy up there. Like, it's a very nice lounge, and it's I'm not, to Damon's point, I'm not a big drinker either, right? So like, I'm not going up there for the bar. Like, I would go up there for the some food and I mean, look, there's, even if you don't watch the fireworks, the views from up there are incredible, especially at night, right? Like, you could see literally every park from up there, and you can see Everest, you can see Epcot, you can see you can see all the park icons basically from the top there, and at night when everything's lit up, it's gorgeous up there. So I go for that kind of thing, and just to hang out for a little bit, and also for the cake. So that's an important part of this too, is the cake. So anyway, so why don't we go ahead and do our ad, because we're actually a little late for our ad, shockingly. All right, so our ad this week is for, even though we have Andy on from DVC Resale Market, we have another World of DVC company that is sponsoring this episode, which is the DVC Rental Store. So the DVC Rental Store, a World of DVC company, offers magical vacations at incredible value. Save up to 60% off retail rates at premium Disney resorts. DVC Rental Store now includes deposits as low as 25% at the time of booking and a built-in cancellation policy for every reservation. And as always, DVC Rental Store pays out the most to members looking to rent their points. Want to learn more? Go to dvcrentalstore.com or call 1-855-DVC-RENT. That's 1-855-382-7368. And please be sure to let them know that Welcome Home sent you. All right, cool. Let's keep it going here. So, yeah, go ahead.
Finding Nemo.
I know this is probably only a thing for me because of the age of my child, and I don't think you guys are going to watch this.
Okay, so first of all, for anyone wondering, that the heading is Finding Nemo, The Big Blue and Beyond, opening summer 2022, which is great because, again, we knew this was coming. We knew that they were going to do some upgrades to the show. To your point, Tom. Even when my son was little, Finding Nemo was not a thing for us. Like, I think we watched the show once, or like we watched the movie once with him, and it was not something that resonated with him. So in our house, Finding Nemo was something that, like, for this show in particular, was something that we walked by on our way from Everest to Dinoland, and we just kind of ignored it.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
No, I mean, look, I always liked the original show. We'd seen it before we had kids, right? Like, we liked it. It was, it's had some catchy songs in it, and some things that would get stuck in your head, and it was well done. It was a well done show, and I was sad when they kind of got rid of it, but I understood why they did, and of course, why not take the time to redo it, right? It was the same one for the same show for a long time, so why not use? And even if you watch this video that they have out there, there was a lot of technology they had when they have now that they didn't have when they created the show originally, and so they're using a lot of interesting new things in here, like the projection mapping, and it seems like they're doing a lot more kind of projection going on here, and they also shortened the show by like 15 minutes too, which is probably a good thing. I feel like that show was probably a little bit too long. So that's not a bad thing. But they're also talking about a new LED video wall designed to visually extend the world beyond the physical sets on stage. A 32-foot sunken submarine, a fish tank volcano. It looks like there's some really cool stuff that's going to be in this show. So I know, for me, taking my daughter in October and really it being the first trip for her where it's hard to explain, but the first trip where she's like, aware of things, right? Because she's been a couple times before, but she was so young. She like really didn't absorb all this. Like now she's, at 4, she's really going to pick up on this stuff. And so I think, she really likes Nemo. So I think this will be a really good thing to take her to when we go in October. So I'm excited for it. I'm glad it's coming back. And also though, for, anybody that doesn't care about this at all, you should also be excited for it because as we talk about all the time, these things are people eaters. And we need a lot of those at Disney to eat up people so they're not standing in line for other things. Yeah.
I will say the one thing I did appreciate on our walk from Everest over to Dinoland is you could see all the lines of people getting sucked into the building, which meant that we could get over to where we wanted to get to much easier. So,
Trevor, what sort of show would you see? So you're not, what would you want?
Okay, we actually liked the bird show in Animal Kingdom. So that's again, even without the up stuff that they've done with it, like it's still just an enjoyable show. I guess the thing is that I'll watch a lot of different things. Finding Nemo just never struck a chord for me was the biggest thing. So it's not that I'm against like sitting down and watching a show, because we have seen like, especially like in Disneyland, we've seen, we watched all the shows there and we enjoyed them all. But that just Finding Nemo in particular, we never, it just never resonated with us.
This LED video wall, though, sounds interesting.
It does.
Right? 32-foot sunken submarine and a fish tank volcano standing nearly 15 feet tall. Like, I might not be interested in the show, but I'm interested in that.
The technology stuff part.
Yeah, I was interested in the technology stuff.
Yeah, no, I get that. You do like Festival of the Lion King, though, Trevor? Like, is that, or did you do that one? Or like...
Again, we did it once, and it's a good show. But
just not for
just I don't know how to explain it. Like it's just we see these things and then we kind of decide hey is this something we would want to go and see again on our next trip? And a lot of times the answer is no, and we just we pass it by because part of it too is these shows, like to your point about the length of the show, they do take up a lot of time. Especially if you're waiting for a show and then you got to be seated and all that. So, for us, because we really only go once a year, we do have to look at it from, do we want to go watch a show again that we've seen, or do we want to go try something new?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes sense. I mean, but you'll always go to Indiana Jones, right? Like nothing.
Oh, absolutely. That's a different discussion. Yeah. Indies required.
I have to ask Andy though. Andy, are you into the shows? Like, do you like going to the different shows, or is that not your thing?
I like the interactive shows. So Lion King show, the stuff that is what I would consider a performing arts situation. Whereas maybe if there was on this Nemo, if there was a new version of Nemo coming out, to create a little bit more excitement about that might be a little bit more of a draw to want to go see it. But I'm along the same lines as if I've seen it once, I'm only there once every year or once every 18 months. Why go see something I've seen it already or once before?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I get that. So anything else about this, or we want to move on to this next thing, which I'm not even sure I totally fully get.
Yeah, well, let's try to talk about it. So this is the celebrate your Disney memories with a new virtual mural on Cinderella Castle. So this looks like a new PhotoPass offering
thing,
where I'm guessing it's like a video that puts like all your pictures together into an animated.
That's exactly right.
Thing.
Yeah. So like if you watch the video on here, like basically you could take certain pictures And then using AR, you can augmented reality, you can take a picture of the castle and like make a collage of your photos from the day on the castle. I find it kind of weird and don't love it. I'm not going to lie. It's kind of odd to me. Even watching the video, I was just kind of like, who's this for? Like, who's going to do this? But I'm sure people will. Like, I'm not a social media person, so maybe like people that are like, you know, all about social media will do this. I don't know.
You know,
by the way,
yeah,
this
like
costs $10. By the way, it costs $9.99. You have to pay for it.
Yeah, that's a little rough.
Yeah, exactly.
for something like this, yeah, it's hard, right? Like I get where, you know, Disney, they're offering a service, they're offering something kind of unique, but it's also, who's really going to use this?
That's what I'm wondering. Like, who's this for?
Yeah. So I'm watching the video right now.
Now you're watching the video to understand.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out if that was just a random cast member that ran up to the people all excited because they were recording a video on their phone. I don't like that. Didn't make a lot of sense.
It didn't. No.
Yeah.
Oh no! Wait, I don't think it is a cast member. I think it's just a person.
Oh, just a random person. Hey,
I mean, a friend. I'm guessing a friend meeting back up with them or something. It'd be weird.
I like the idea of a random. I like the idea of a stranger getting excited because you're recording on your phone.
It's weird. Yeah, no, I don't know, man. This one just is weird. I mean, like, I like some of the AR stuff. Like, some of it is cool, right? There's some neat things that they've done with that, but this one just doesn't resonate with me, and I just find it kind of weird. You have to pay an extra $10 for it. I don't know. Yeah, if it were free, then maybe I'd do it. But if for $10, I'm definitely not doing it.
When like every other social media app has filters and AR stuff and it's free. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like, why does it matter if I could put my picture up on the top spire of the castle? I don't know. Why do I want to do that? I mean, I thought when I first read this, you know what I thought this was, Trevor? Honestly, I thought it was I thought it was that they were going to do like a thing at the end of the night where like you could pay for this and then everybody, you know, that's in the park that
would be cool.
Yeah, that would be cool, right? Where you could like decide to put your picture up and give them.
It wouldn't have been $10 though.
No, probably not. Right. But you know what I mean, though? They could put like a running collage.
That
of
would be
pictures.
really cool.
That would be awesome. But yeah, that's not what it is. So yeah, but I don't know. This is not a thing that I would be interested in. That's for sure. And I'm still not really sure who it's for.
Yeah. Again, maybe we'll. I guess the best case scenario I can see is, you know, you'll see this kind of stuff pop up on Facebook from time to time. So somebody will put it on their feed, and you know it'll be, hey, that's really cool. But is it $10 cool?
Probably not.
Yeah, that's the sticking point for me. Is, you know, I feel like, you know, they're trying to charge for something that doesn't really or doesn't have a precedent for being charged for, right?
Yeah,
like
for an AR filter. Yeah, just feels weird. I agree. Okay. All right. Anything else on that? Or are we going to talk about connections some more?
Let's talk about connections. I'm actually very interested in this now.
You know, it's interesting. I saw one or two people call it cold, and I looking at the pictures, I don't feel like it looks cold at all. I think it looks very modern, but
it's clean.
It's very clean and modern, and it just reminds me of like, you know, like original EPCOT view of the future, right? Like it feels very true to that. And there's this coffee table thing over here with the EPCOT logo in it that just looks awesome. I want one for my house. Have you seen that, the last picture that's on there?
The double layer glass.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. Yeah, I think it's just like a little table there, but I don't know. This looks really nice to me. I don't know. I don't get the idea that it might be cold. It looks the murals look amazing in it too. I mean,
I feel, you know, that maybe the statement around that is that, you know, some of the previous EPCOT stuff was a lot busier. Sure. So they've definitely toned down on the amount of stuff going on. So you can, you know, focus more on a few things instead of there being like, you know, stuff in your eye line all the time. Like that's one thing I remember about, you know, going to Disney, you know, even in like early 2000s and stuff, it was that it seemed like you were always getting hit in the face with something, right? Like there was always, you know, they had, like stuff on the walls and things that were like not even like it didn't seem relevant to where you were. It was just like there always had to be something there. Whereas this, saying it's cold or whatever, it's because there is a lot of blank space, I guess is the best way to put it.
Open space too. Yeah. I mean, it's not like, I think before, kind of to your point, like before, if you like remember back to like Mouse Gear, right? Like Mouse Gear was like cartoony, right? It was like very cartoony. And now I feel like this is almost more true to what EPCOT always was, meant to be, as opposed to what it was recently. You know what I mean? Like where it just this kind of interesting, I mean, this view of the future that looks this way. And I mean, I think the things they put in here are gorgeous. I mean, I love the idea of all the like the cool viewport things that they have at the top, like the little almost like skylights, the circular things. And then these murals are amazing. I don't know if these were like hand painted murals or whatever, but it's pretty incredible. Just looking at some of them, and look, it's a big open space, and is it a lot more modern? Yes, but I mean, like EPCOT's supposed to be our view of the future, right? Like that's what it's meant to be, right? So I don't know. I like it. I want to see it in person.
It shouldn't be stuck in the 90s, right? That's exactly the point.
Yeah. Well, that's like some of those old designs felt that way, right? Like and it was the 60s thought of what the future was going to be was what EPCOT was, and then then it got, I think there was some just like some cartoony stuff there, and then I think this is just a lot more modern and a lot more in the vein of what the original vision was. That's how I look at it. But now listen, given I have not seen it yet in person, and I would like to see it in person, I will be able to get to see it in person when we go to EPCOT, because it is opening on April 27th. So that is officially opening then. So I'll be interested to check that out. I mean, I really don't care about the Starbucks location because I don't drink coffee, so I really don't care about this. But so Andy, I don't know if you're a big EPCOT guy or what. I'm sorry, Trevor. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Andy. What do you think about this?
I remember EPCOT from back in the days when what does it stand for? Environmental Prototype Community of Tomorrow. So what's the futuristic stuff? If you think about it, and listen to the conversation, is Disney has to find ways to attract people into different areas of the parks.
Yeah. And
this may be one of the ways to do it. And if it's a new gathering place, a new place to sit down, especially when it's 90,000 degrees outside, and spend a little money and get something to drink or something to eat, then that's what they're going to try and do.
Well, and we've said this before, Andy. We've talked about this a lot. Like, this is the quick service, one of the quick service options, but there's so many good food options in EPCOT. It's almost like, and we looked at the menu too, and nothing stood out to me. It was like, oh, I need to eat there, right? Like, and that's fine, but that's okay, because it's serving that purpose, right? It's serving the purpose of being a quick stop. If you have nothing else that you want to get, it's right there. I mean, if you can't get yourself to Sunshine Seasons or any of the other, places to eat around EPCOT, like, this is an option. So, yeah. Go ahead, Trevor. What were you going to say?
Yeah, I was just going to say, that the thing is that it's so, I keep thinking about Electric Umbrella, right? And how bad it was. And, like I said, the more that I'm seeing about this, and I've seen a couple of, people on YouTube comment on it and stuff like that. And, to your point, Andy, it's, I'm actually curious now to see what this is as a gathering place and see, how this functions in the park, because it is supposed to be, the concept of what things could look like going into the future, which, the future doesn't always have to be like, that 60s rendition of, everyone's in spaceships and all that kind of stuff. But, I'm curious now of, is this something that, it starts here and then you start to see it everywhere, right? Like it's, I didn't think I would care about Connections Cafe, but the more that I'm looking at it, the more I am interested in it. which is weird because I always walked by Electric Umbrella before.
No, I totally agree with that. These pictures actually make me more interested and make me want to check it out more because it does look very cool and very, like I said, I feel like it very much looks like the design for that, what Epcot was meant to be like. And I feel like they've taken the original plans for Epcot and really tried to infuse that into what they're doing with the reimagining of Epcot. So I want to check this out. And, I know a lot of people also didn't love the reimagining of, what Mouse Gear became, right? Like it's, but and it's similar. It's like got the same kind of design style, right? Like it's got those wood slats in the ceiling and it's kind of the same kind of thing. And it does feel very modern and very new and that kind of thing. But I don't know. It was a nice store. I liked it. I didn't hate it. It just didn't have that same cartoony feel to it that Mouse Gear had. And I think I miss Mouse Gear just for what it was. But then the new store was nice too. So I was okay with that too. Although I couldn't really find anything I wanted there, but that has less to do with the store and more to do with I was looking for something specific and couldn't find it. So, But yeah, so we'll have to check this out, Trevor. Not necessarily eat there, but maybe at least just walk through it when we go.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So just two last things that I'm observing here as you were talking, as I'm flipping through the pictures, is one, there is one picture looks like there's like a piece of artwork hanging from the ceiling. Yeah, and it's a bunch of rings, like different colored rings, and I feel like
lights.
Yeah. I feel like that feels like that little bit of a nod back to the previous space. It feels almost like it's definitely more modern, but it's got that 90s kind of feel to it. The other thing too is with like you mentioned with the wood slats and the metal and everything. Yeah, I feel like this could double as if it doesn't work out as connections, it could double as an evil villain's lair.
Yeah. That's fair. Yeah, that's funny.
Like it works, right? Like imagine up on top of a mountain, and I don't know.
It's a villain with style. That's
yeah. They always have the really nice, the big open space, and there's always there's always nice wood and everything looks very clean, right? So I guess Disney's got some options there.
Yeah, Syndrome from Incredibles, like his volcano base. Yeah. I'm also just looking at that same picture you're talking about though too, and I just noticed in the bottom right hand corner, like the glass, the logos of Epcot, and it's saying Epcot there, like how cool those look, and I definitely want to see those in person. You see what I'm talking about in that picture in the bottom right hand corner? Yeah, very cool. Yeah. Because I do really like the Epcot logo. And that's actually what I was trying to find in that store, by the way. I was trying to find something that just had the Epcot logo on it, and I couldn't find anything. I mean, I found some stuff, but it wasn't what I wanted. I wanted like a t-shirt with the logo on it, just said Epcot. Like that's all I needed, but I was having a hard time finding it. But
gotta give Disney some feedback on that.
I do, yeah. I'm going to send some emails. So, all right, let's talk. Do you want to talk some food?
Yeah. Mother's Day.
Yeah. Let's get some Mother's Day.
Mother's Day is coming up quick too.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Gotta figure that one out.
Yep. We have that and then our trip. So we do. I guess I should get on that.
Yeah. So let's, we don't have to go through all this food. We can kind of scroll through and see what kind of jumps out to us here. I'm liking this cookie shot over at Grand Californian. There's a little shot glass made out of
little
cookie.
cylinder. Yeah.
It's a little shot glass made out of cookie. Like, give me that.
It looks like red velvet.
Yeah, it's available with milk or liqueur.
I don't know. This Coral Reef restaurant, strawberry pistachio dome.
Oh, that looks amazing, right?
Yeah, that and the next one too. Anything with strawberry and pistachio is a dub. That's definitely wins there.
This Coral Reef one looks like a work of art, man. Like it's a beautiful dish if it actually looks like that when it comes out, which usually they do. But it's what is it? So strawberry pistachio dome with strawberry lemon gel and ruby chocolate powder. Wow. Okay.
That cupcake I could definitely skip a few of these. The red velvet cupcake I'll skip, but the strawberry mousse with strawberry compote and lemon curd dessert. Oh, yeah. That looks crazy. And then the strawberry bliss cupcake, as you can see, I love strawberry, right? That one looks okay too.
They're very strawberry.
I'm in on that one.
Go ahead, Andy. What were you going to say?
I'm in on that one.
All right.
My last name is Barry. I got to eat something Barry.
That's true.
Gotta rep the strawberry. Yeah.
Yeah, the strawberry bliss cupcake though. I'm a big nonpareil guy, so the fact that there's nonpareils on there, that makes me happy too. I'm in for that. But they're very strawberry heavy with a lot of these dishes. I noticed that's really interesting. I guess they're in season, right? They're coming into season, so
the chocolate dessert box looks pretty good too.
Oh, chocolate dessert box. Where was that?
At the Riviera.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. So mini chocolate handcrafted chocolate box. Wait, so the box is chocolate? No, handcrafted chocolate box with a ganache brownie, raspberry macaroon, and lemon madeleines. Right? Wow, that sounds awesome.
For $1 million.
$1 million? Yeah. Well, because exactly. Right. I'm sure
you got to pay for the resort somehow.
Oh yeah, so the box is made out of chocolate. Okay, yeah, I'm looking at it. So they're in those little chocolate boxes. That is cool. By the way, most of these are only available for like on Mother's Day or through just that weekend. So these are very limited.
Yeah. A lot of them say they're only available like on May 8th, which is crazy.
Yeah, this boardwalk one is lame. By the way, I'm not liking it. It's meh.
I want to highlight one of the ones at the Grand Floridian is the mimosa cake which. So it's a mimosa flavored mousse and mimosa cake, but then it has the chocolate slipper on the top, which is a very stark comparison to the dirty boot that we had previously for Earth Day.
Listen, I saw good reviews of that dirty boot.
I still don't want to eat a dirty boot.
I want to eat it. I'm going to eat it.
I get it. I know, it all is Wally and everything, but yeah. I just think it's funny.
Yeah, no.
I think with that one, it's very curious because at the end of the descriptor, it says Cinderella slipper filled with mimosa flavored mousse. Does the mousse contain alcohol or does the slipper contain alcohol?
That's a good question.
You're drinking alcohol out of a shoe, or is the whole thing
just want to get the chocolate slipper?
There you go. Yeah. They can't filled with because it doesn't look like the slipper in this picture is filled with anything, does it?
No,
it's probably alcohol contained in the ingredients.
Yeah, I would assume the cake is soaked in mimosa.
Yeah.
That sounds like a good.
The other one that jumps out to me is the Yacht Club one all the way at the bottom.
All the way at the bottom. Oh yeah.
That compass.
Sweeter than roses, raspberry mousse and chocolate cake.
Oh yeah, ruby red, raspberry center, chocolate fondant decor. That's very, very nice looking. Which one were you mentioning, Trevor? Which one was that?
Oh, sorry, I was looking at where it was. It was at Marketplace Ale and Compass. Beach Club. Yeah,
that one's really neat. I like that one. Oh man. There's some really good stuff here for Mother's Day. Too bad we're not going to be there for this. But if you're going to
we're going to miss all of this. That's unfortunate.
Now, though, I need to fire up my Food and Wine app so I can start going through all the booths at Flower and Garden and marking off what I want. So
yes, actually, you need to send me a link to that because I think we need to figure out a plan for our day at EPCOT.
A plan of attack to eat all that stuff. Yeah. Yeah, no, we'll definitely make that happen. I gotta look at the app, and if you haven't used that app, by the way, you guys need to go use that app. It's not an official Disney app. I'm going to throw that out there, but it is awesome. So
send me a link because we need to collaborate on this since we're talking about food. Yeah, we need to. We talked about it. It was back in like February, I think, when we were talking about the stuff available at Food and Wine, right? So,
this is Flower and Garden, though, right? So we're doing.
Flower and Garden. Yeah. So they're all the same festival.
In your mind, it's all just one big long festival.
I'm going there, and there's food, and
I want to eat it. Yeah, but listen, there's some good stuff for Mother's Day, though. I think if you're going to be there for Mother's Day, check out some of the stuff because there's some really interesting. And we didn't even mention everything, right? Like there's there's some stuff that's not sweets, right? So like Steakhouse 71 has a special breakfast. What is it? Waltz prime rib hash, Floridian eggs Benedict, and bacon and eggs. So they've got some stuff there. There's a bunch of stuff going around for this. I love when Disney does like really exclusive, like they take the time to make these really exclusive desserts that are only available for like 3 days. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of cool that they do that.
Yeah. And shout out to Storytellers Cafe on the West Coast. They're doing a Mother's Day brunch as well, which if you've ever, I know, sorry, gotta bring the West Coast into it. I mean, if you've ever been to Storytellers Cafe, it's a great buffet style place, similar to Crystal Palace, but it's obviously in the middle of the Grand Californian, which as Andy talked about earlier is a pretty fantastic resort in and of itself. So yeah, if you can get there for Mother's Day, make sure you check it out.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so I've got one more thing on the list here, and I thought that this was both a funny and terrible idea, and also feel like it should be happening in Disney World. So Disney, this is a rumor that was put out there. This is from a survey that Disney put out, and I'm going to credit the site, even though I know a lot of listeners don't love this site. It's from WDW News Today, right? So basically, Disney put out a survey asking guests if they would be interested in child daycare services during the Food and Wine Festival at California Adventure. I simultaneously think this is an amazing idea and a terrible one. And I just wanted to discuss it.
I mean, yeah. Yeah, you're right. Like the thing is, Food and Wine it's more, just like we were talking about even for Flower and Garden, is there's a lot of food booths. There's a lot of stuff, as an adult, you can definitely go around and do. If you have kids, that creates the dilemma of, your kids aren't going to want to stop and check out all the booths or wait while dad gets a drink or whatever.
Yeah.
So, having childcare offered for that seems like a good idea. The flip side of that is that what happens when a parent gets really drunk?
There's that, yeah.
and then their kid, they get, told to leave, or they're not they're not in a good place, and then their kid is at the daycare, right? Like it's, I don't know.
Or the parents that have a little bit too much fun at the Food and Wine Festival, and then maybe get in the car or get moving to go home and just forget completely that they have kids and then that they left them there. I mean, that's a thing that could happen too. I do like it as an idea though, but I just think there could be some pitfalls. Andy, were you going to say something? I'm sorry.
That's what I was going to say is that the parents are asked to leave the parks and then they forget the kids are at daycare.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a California thing.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that being a problem. I also would think this would be absorbently expensive too. Right? Like it would be very expensive. I would think anyway to have daycare like that.
Maybe that's enough to keep you sober during Food and Wine.
The more hours you're there, yeah. I mean, it would be nice because there are some things that are more for an adult audience, and they mention in here like wine tastings and mixology classes and stuff like that, and that's not really for kids, right? But at the same time, it's like, well, then don't bring your kids the day you decide to go do that. Like have somebody watch them at home or in your hotel room or something, because they do. Disney World anyway has those babysitting services, right? That you can have somebody come out and watch your kid in the room.
Yeah.
So I mean, you could just have that, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, it's. You're right. The thing is that when the company takes on the responsibility of watching people's kids, I think it's better if it's kept as a separate thing, or it's kept as hey, you're having somebody else watch your kid versus dropping them off at the park or dropping them off at a daycare center and then going about your day and then forgetting that you dropped your kid off at the daycare center, right? Like it's I
does feel like a recipe for disaster.
I can't imagine that there won't be stories coming out of this later. right?
Well, it could also just be too that, that Disney was like, all right, give me some ideas for, because this is a survey, right? So like, let's test every weird idea that we have, right? And see what the response is. And I think, I think that's, if you look at the survey, it's asking, do you want more bookable experiences or improved quality of, food and beverage or more healthy foods? And then daycare is just kind of thrown in there. You know what I mean? Like it's almost feel like, we have a crazy idea. Let's throw it in there and see how people respond. Right. I doubt that they would ever do it, but who knows? Who knows? Well, so I think that's it for our topics today. So I unless Damon has anything else, and Andy, we'll obviously let you wrap up here too, where you let us know how to contact you and all that. But I don't know if we have anything else we want to talk about or anything else we want to cover. All right, go Trevor.
No, I think we're good actually.
All right, great. Well, Andy, thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate it. It was great to finally talk to you. I've seen your name so many times on Facebook. I was good to finally actually get to talk to you. But also, how can people reach out to you if they want to get to you, if they want to get, help with DVC purchase or selling their DVC? Yeah.
Well, thanks for having me as well. You can reach me. Anybody can reach me by emailing me direct at Andy@DVCResaleMarket.com. That's Andy@DVCResaleMarket.com. Or my virtual office is 949-412-0850. Again, 949-412-0850. And the easiest way to remember me, I always use this as my tagline, is from the movie Toy Story. My name is on the bottom of Woody's right-hand boot, and it says Andy.
That's perfect.
All right. Okay. So just a reminder for everyone, if you want to reach out to us at Welcome Home Podcast, you can always find us at welcomehomepodcast@gmail.com. We love hearing your questions. You guys share trip reports, all that kind of stuff. So, we appreciate the interaction from you guys. If you want to find us on social media, you can find us on Facebook as Welcome Home Podcast, and you can also check out our Facebook group, the Welcome Home Disney Waitlist, and see all the listener discussion that goes on there. You can see the memes, the topics that we talk about on the show get talked about in there a lot. So make sure you check that out. You can also follow us on YouTube as Welcome Home Podcast and Instagram as Welcome Home Pics. Just a reminder, we are having our meetup here in less than 3 weeks. So probably a good idea to check out those channels as we start posting stuff from the parks, because Tom and I will be actually, touring around the parks together, which is kind of wild to think about. It is kind of wild to
think about. It's going to be fun. I'm excited for it. It's going to be a good time, man. I'm excited to ride Space Mountain with you, and to do all the other stuff we're going to do. I mean, it's going to be a good time. And also for the meetup too. I'm excited to meet up with some listeners and have some food. And I'm excited too about the menu. We got a nice menu there, and I've never been into paddlefish either, so that should be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be a great weekend. So yeah, hopefully you guys can, even if you can't make it there with us, we want to share it with you guys. So check out our social media to see all that stuff as it happens. And if you want to help support the podcast, go to store.welcomehomepodcast.com and check out some of our merchandise. We got t-shirts and mugs and fanny packs and stuff that, if you want to rep the logo and help support us and some of the things we're doing, it would be greatly appreciated.
Yes.
Alternately, there's also Patreon, which you can find us on patreon.com/welcomehomepod, and check out some of our different levels of support through Patreon. That comes with exclusive merchandise that you can only get on Patreon, and subscribing to any level on there gets you access to our Discord server, which is yet another way that you guys can interact with us.
Yeah.
Last but not least, as we talked about reviews at the beginning of the show, make sure you guys leave us a review on iTunes or Spotify. It's 5-star reviews are always great.
Yes.
We do appreciate those lower star reviews, but we'd also like to know why. Better reviews are always better, but we do appreciate the constructive feedback as well. So, please consider that, and it helps more people find the podcast.
Yeah, agreed. And yeah, please give us 5-star reviews, and if you can, we appreciate that. At least for Trevor and I, just do it for us.
Yeah.
So, and don't forget to subscribe to Welcome Home Podcast so you can be reminded every time we release an episode. You can find our podcasts on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify, just about any podcast app out there. Just search for Welcome Home. You can find us. Just a reminder to our listeners, Welcome Home Podcast is for entertainment only. We are not employed by the Walt Disney Company, and as such, all opinions we express on the show are our own. So please consult a DVC representative or Disney cast member for more information about anything we talked about today. Big thank you to our sponsors, DVC Rental Store. Please check them out if you're looking to rent out your points. And also, of course, talk to Andy if you're looking to sell your points or if you're looking to buy some new points from the resale market. So join us next time for more Disney Parks discussion. Of course, more DVC talk. We hope to see you all real soon.
This is Skipper Albert Awol, the voice of the jungle, signing off from Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Do a huddle when we hit its hair. How she can cuddle is no man's affair. I looked around from pole to pole, found her in a sugar bowl,